Gods and goddesses. My name is Steve Lumina. With hmm, what why do people? So I did some research on them. So let me just start by saying that this broadcast I do is based on my um, but I did some research and why and this is persistent. Some say overscarce source. Is it survival? Um, what about being told to compare ourselves as people? Yes. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about Sorry about that. Is it that like what is the issue that we have with trusting and getting along with each other? Personal experiences like betrayal, gossip, judgment, or is it like something deeper than that? I don't seem to be having some issues. Give me one second. I can't hear you. So, Denise. Anyway, I muted. Okay, so all right. Now let me check my status because my husband is saying something sounds weird. Give me one moment, guys. We can continue. All right. The television on, but anyway, sorry about that. Yeah. So, has anyone heard of the mother wound? Hmm? Um, sure.
Okay, okay. Okay, my bad. So apparently, my bad. Apparently you guys want to hear me clearly. It was coming through my television instead of my screen. My bad. My bad. Um, yeah, so have you guys heard of the mother wound? So the mother wound refers to the emotional pain passed from mothers to daughters, often unconsciously though, through criticism, neglect, unmet needs, or projection of unresolved trauma. This it's not about blaming mothers, but about understanding how generation pain shapes women's ability to trust themselves and to trust each other. Honestly, many of us carry that particular wound, and I can say myself, I had experience, and I'll speak about myself. Okay, it's always a story time right here. Story time on Night Talk with T. So me growing up, I grew up in a house where there were many women in my home. And it wasn't so much of a father figure there. Now, I do have a father, he's alive, but my mom and dad separated when I was probably after I was conceived, to be honest. So I really don't remember having my father and my mother together in the same home. I grew up with one brother and three other sisters, and my mother. So my mother worked hard. She worked two jobs a lot of times. So this is not mama bashing or anything like that. So she worked two jobs a lot of times just to make sure that we had certain things. So working those two jobs, she didn't have a lot of time for to I guess for us to bond. She would come home. A lot of times, me and my older sister, especially, had to take care of the little siblings. And I know I'm not the only one. I know someone can relate to this as well, where we, had to take care of little siblings while our parents worked. And by the time she got home from work, she was tired. You think she wanted to have time to sit and hang out with her daughters or even her son? No, she wanted to rest. She needed to rest. By the time she would close her door, and she just needed her time to herself. So there was no real connection and bonding at that point. Now we can go further on into my mother until to we get older and my mother remarries. So once she remarries, there's a man in the picture in a home now. I'm not going to say it was the best, but he was there, right? And again, she's still working. He's working. Um, she get home. She goes to her room. She still closed the door. You know, I never forget that. She comes home. She closes the door. And again, this is not about bashing anyone moms. Um, she was dealing with life the way she thought how to deal with life at that particular time. However, um, with that experience, there was no real bonding with my mother. Now, can I say as a young child, do I experience or do I remember having great experiences with my mom? Absolutely. I remember a time that I felt like my mom was the greatest mom. Things that we did with her younger. I remember Halloween parties, and I remember um, tomato soup after coming outside from playing in the snow. I remember just, the first experience we had with pumping a gas tank. I know it sounds weird, but that's something that we learned together, me, my sister, and my mom. So yeah, I do have experiences where I can say that times we were bonding. But again, my mom was more on survival mode. And so her being on survival mode, there wasn't a lot of nurturing. What I saw from my mom is survival. Um, so I believe that a lot of people can actually, a lot of people can actually relate to that experience. Um, let's see. But there's other things, there's other reasons. And it's not just because not everyone had that experience that I had with my mom. Some people had loving mothers and mothers that were there and at their, and at their games and at their recitals, or things that they were in school, like participated in some of the school activities, or was there at home and was able to nurture. So it's not just the mom, but that's just one side, my side. There are other sides that other people can say that they have experienced on why they are having so many issues with dealing with other women. Now, some would say that I don't have a problem. I just keep my circle small, right? I mean, I've heard that 1,000 times. My circle's small. Keep my circle small. How small is that circle? When it's really just, it's not even a circle. When it's just you. There are a lot of women that I have encountered in my life, and a lot of them, they keep their circles so small that it's just them. I don't find them with friends. Um, I may know them, but do we hang out? And I'm not going to say it's all them, because it's me too. And because of my past experiences, not just with my mom, but other friends that I thought were my friends that betrayed me, has given me a fear of trusting another woman at times. Um, and this is something that I had to deal with. I had to deal with, especially if I was going to be in a polygamous relationship. Okay. I had to look back on why I was having this fear of something that I wanted to, which was connect to women and build this big tribe. I found myself also fearful of the same thing that I wanted. So again, I had to do a lot of research, and that research also it started with me. I had to do the research with me and figure out what was it. What was it about me? Because I can't blame anyone else. I can't even look at my mom. I had to hear what was going on with me. Okay. So why is it important that we do get along? So I'm going to read you something that it's a study. So it was a survey. It was a survey done back in 2024, and this survey was a survey done on the studies on why women struggle to get along. And this survey said that over 5,000 women worldwide, 41% of the women reported feeling unsupported or undermined by other women at work. Okay. Now, the causes cited were the scarcity of leadership roles. They didn't really see many of them at the table. Okay, now mind you, this was done in 2024. Um, Competition was a visibility, lack of mentorship between women. Let's see what else. They found that women, so this is another study, Harvard Women's Friendship Study back in 2023, found that women they do form bonds. Those friendships are unusually deep, emotionally supportive, and resilient. But when women with the history of betrayal, strained mother-daughter relationships, just talked about that, or that repeated mean girl experience, let's see, um, in adolescence were more likely to struggle with trust as an adult. And I can say that I probably experienced them both, the mother wound, and like I said, the betrayal as a friend. There was another study done in 2023 from the American Psychology Association, and this was published, finding that women's rivalries are often ruled by social comparison pressures, appearance, career, and relationships. Social media amplifies this with Instagram and TikTok, creating constant comparison environments, which encourage trust and fuels subtle competition. Now, I don't know, like, again, I can only speak for myself, but growing up and seeing how the world considered what beauty was, okay? And we didn't always, we didn't always fit that, right? I mean, do you think that could have put on some type of competition or feeling like you had to compare or compete with someone that may have looked like that? Hmm? Also, there was a research, Pew Research Center 2021, and this is still highly cited through 2023, found racial and cultural differences. Black and Latino women often reported higher trust in close friends, but lower trust in women in general. And it could be due to exclusion and workplace bias. White women often reported larger friendship circles, but those friendships were more surface level. So basically, we have friends and we're deeper, which, come on, that explains a lot. But in their circle, yeah, they were friends. They were high end and fine and going out to lunch together. Peace, family, peace. But it was more shallow. Their stuff was more shallow. So was they really, or they were just, were they really friends? Did they really trust them? Or were they just someone that, on an outer layer that they just considered to be friends, but deep down it was shallow. So, sociological studies from 20 to 23 highlighted horizontal hostility or lateral violence, when women as an oppressed group directed frustration at each other rather than the larger power system causing the limitation. This often seen in workplace or competitive industries. Okay. So I mean, why do you all think that we are having problems with dealing with each other? Or do you even believe there is an issue? Facts, unwarranted competition. Yes, yes. This is the thing. We as women need each other, though, right? Um, Rather, I understandable that there has been a lot of betrayal. Peace, sister. Peace. I understand that you may have suffered some betrayal in the hands of a friend, but collectively as women, we need each other. Some of the benefits that we have with getting along is emotional healing. When we support each other, it creates a safe space for vulnerability. Collective strength. One woman alone is powerful, but a group united is unstoppable. Tribes, hello. Growth and opportunities, mentoring, networking, and lifting up each other in businesses and family communities. Spiritual and mental well being. Sisterhood restores balance and confidence. Historically, ancient tribes where women were shared, they shared child care, food gathering, healing, and wisdom. The midwives and herbalists and storytellers who carried community knowledge. This all the women working together. African, Native American, and other indigenous communities where women councils made key decisions because they worked together in unity. We women have to work together, okay? But we have to start by taking accountability, okay? Whether it be the mother wound, whether it be some personal experiences that you may have had in the past, we as women have to take accountability. First, acknowledge that we do have this issue, okay? That it is something that we have. We have to start that healing. We can't continue on. If you can just imagine that even though it may be about 37%, 36% of women that find that it's hard to get along, can you imagine how powerful we would be with that extra 37% women if we decided that that we would heal that wound? Excuse, I gotta take my tea. So why you think what happens without healing? Just much more jealousy, mistrust, and silent wars and competitions among each other. Listen to this young lady as she speaks, please. I think it's going to be added. Okay. Well, we'll get back to that. What does accountability looks like? First, it has to be an acceptance. It has to be an idea. Look, okay, yeah, I do have an issue. Okay, I think he's trying to bring that up for me. What does accountability looks like for you? Start out with self-reflection. Okay. Own up to your mistakes. How you may have gossiped or you wronged one of your sisters. Apologize. With your self-reflection, am I projecting my own insecurities onto her? You see a woman that looks good. Um, she's healthy. Her spirit looks healthy. You may not be in that same place space at the moment. Are you projecting your own insecurities on that woman? I mean, we gotta be honest with ourselves. Okay. I guess when he gets ready, he'll play. Another thing, we gotta break cycles. Repeating, refusing to repeat harmful patterns we inherited. Okay. We gotta forgive our mothers. We gotta forgive our friends, and we can't repeat these patterns. Choosing honesty over passive aggression, speaking directly instead of throwing whispers. No gossiping, ladies. Celebrating and not competing. Intentionally uplifting other women's success. I don't know about you, but you ever had that one that you thought was your friend that was excited about, every time you had something good going on with yourself, you tried to share that information and then all they had was something negative to say? Hmm. Okay, I guess we're gonna start this video now. I'm not sure, but can you hear the video? Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. We'll do the video another time, okay? So, what steps can we take as women toward healing and rebuilding trust with each other? I know. I'm sorry, Bank Star. Sorry about that. We'll do the video another time, okay? So, yes, sorry about that, Lisa. We'll try that video another time. But what steps toward healing and rebuilding trust can we do? Can we have for each other? If you can turn the music down. Okay, can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. If you can hear me, let me. If you can hear me, let me know. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you. So, what does accountability look like? First of all, it's self reflection. Own the mistakes. I think I went through that. Um, how can we start healing and rebuilding trust with other women? Thank you, Denise. First of all, we got to name that wound. We got to figure out where it come from. Okay, that's the first thing. What is it that hurt you or you felt betrayed? You have to break that silence and you have to work on repairing it. Practicing repair instead of replacement. Ending friendships without closure. Real healing requires apologies, accountability, and willingness to rebuild. And one great thing is sisterhood circles. Those are safe spaces where women share stories of betrayal, mistrust, and reconciliation, proving no one is alone in this. Reparenting ourselves, forgiving our mom, Giving to the other women the compassion and support we may have not received from our own mothers. Mentorship. Older and younger women actively committing to building, guiding, uplifting, and supporting one another. Healing begins when we stop blaming women as a whole and start asking, what can I do differently in the next sisterhood encounter? It starts with you, the dot. Can I hold myself accountable for gossip or spread? Can I apologize for the shade I threw? Can I celebrate another woman's win as if it were my own? Healing women's relationship is not just about trust. It's about rewriting the story of sisterhood for the next generation. What can you do to help build that sisterhood? Thank you, Ebony. I see that you can hear me. I can share with you all that that struggle, and it's still a struggle, you know, um, to build relationships with women, especially women that I'm not haven't built a relationship with, or that they're not my sisters or not my cousins. By reaching out, um, and just start having conversations. Not always, not always in thought that what is the underlying motive. But first, you got to forgive the one that hurt you. You know. Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry we had a little issues with our stuff, but let me see. So we got let me see what else I want to talk about. Anyone got anything they want to add to this, or even want to join on? Anyone got anything they want to say? Their own experiences? Get rid of malice, jealousy, envy, hatred, and disrespect. Yes, absolutely. How all of that starts with us, though. A lot of times, things that trigger us is from experiences that we have experienced ourselves. That's how we can relate, and that's how we are aware of it. It's an energy. Sometimes these energies are passed down from our mother, that's passed down genetically to us, or we see some things. It's not that we actually have experienced that, but it's not just getting rid of the jealousy. It's where did jealousy come from? Where did it start? Where did that competition you feel like you had to be jealous of your sister? It wasn't always like this. We lived in tribes. We lived together, as I spoke of earlier. It wasn't something that we always did. I mean, come on now. In tribes, they shared the same man a lot of times. It is. And it's some from not just the programming, but from the experience. We cannot look at one woman and determine because another woman has hurt our feelings, or we did not have that attachment with our mother, that this next woman that we encounter is going to be that same one. We need each other. Thank you, Ebony. We need each other. Yes, it was taught. It was taught rather through just experiences, things we saw our mother go through, and she didn't trust, and she was taught it, or whether or not from betrayal from family or friends that may have hurt us, and we just never got over that hurt. Culture, the television, the network, all these things that's telling us we got to look like this and seem like that, and if we don't, yes, it actually does start with healing the heart. We have that. You got it right there, Ebony. Healing the heart. We have to take accountability for it. We can't look at the next woman and say, this is why, this is what's going on. We have to look at ourselves and figure it out. It's wild because most women want to share their bond. And I wish you guys had an opportunity to rewatch this video that I was going to show you, because most women honestly want to bond, but they had the same fears that I had, you know, wanting to bond, but yet fearing it. One of the most things that you wanted to do, you feared to do it. And we have to start in our home, you know, we have to start in our home, because a lot of us are raising young queens, young princesses in our home, and they follow in your steps, whether you think they are or not. If you're coming home and you are not acknowledging them and you're going straight into the room, if you are, I'm tired, and you don't feel like being bothered because, you worked a long day at work and you just don't have time for them. You're the first woman that's in their life, most likely. You're the woman that they seen the most. If you are not being connected to them, then if you're not connecting with them, then who is? You're that first woman. And I get it. I know how it is to have to work two jobs. I know I've been in that experience. That same thing that I saw my mother do, I did too. I got two jobs, and I remember times I missed a lot of my children's recitals and things they did at school. Now there were some that I did go to, but there were a lot that I did miss. I miss opportunities where I can just hang out and do certain things I want, that my children enjoy, especially my daughter. I only have one daughter. I remember, listen, I'm gonna tell you how it's, and this is serious. Growing up in my house, it was not, the word "I love you" wasn't said a lot of times. I didn't hear that. My mother wasn't not one of those mothers that would just come out and say, "I love you." I love you. She didn't end conversations with it. She didn't start it with it. I didn't hear it. It was foreign in my house. And so I remember having my own children, and I remember, like, wow, it felt so. It's not that I didn't love my children, of course I did, but having to actually say it was so uncomfortable, just because I wasn't used to saying it. It was foreign to me. I had to get used to saying that. That's a cycle I had to break. Did I believe my mother loved me? Absolutely. Yes, she did. She loved me the best way she knew how. She was in survival mode. There was no nurturing there a lot of times. Maybe when I was a baby, I'm sure it was. I heard stories, and I have fond memories when I was very young. But I had to break that. I had to start telling my children I love them just because. Not because they did something good or whatever, just because. I just had to start telling them that. And I remember going into my room and just closing the door. You know? I had to break that too. I had to start leaving my door open, allowing my children, not just my daughter, but my children, access to me. These are the cycles we have to break. And we think, oh no, I don't have a problem. No, females are just this, they this and they're that. We got to start with us. That she loves you back. She don't say, mm-hmm. Right. Many females that I have encountered, And it is in my community, unfortunately. And it's not in my just in my community. People that are women that I work with, not close with their mother. Or you hear stories of betrayal from a woman telling about the betrayal of a friend. But how can we heal this? Right? We have to heal this, right? We have to break this curse. We can't continue this where our children, greetings, Akshita, where our children and their children are repeating these same cycles. How can we heal this? It starts with here and accountability, ladies. We have to take accountability of things that we have done ourselves. I don't see victims. I'm sorry. I mean, once you become a certain age, I don't see victims. When you're children, you have no, and you really don't have any certain control. But we are women, we are grown. We have to also take accountability for our own actions. I can speak for myself. I can't speak for no one else. My own experiences. Spiritually and mentally, sisterhood restores balance and confidence. Do you get that? We as sisters have to begin to trust and work with each other more. And it's not to say that we don't, because I'm starting to see a lot of things come up where, these groups are coming up where women are getting together. We have to continue that. No more my circle this small. No more of that. We got to make that circle a little bit bigger. And it starts with healing that hurt within ourselves, acknowledging it, taking accountability for the things that we've done. Absolutely. Thank you, Denise. Healing ourselves and forgiving ourselves. We can't be uncomfortable addressing the issue without being accused of being a problem rather than focusing on the issue at hand. Who are we going to blame? Society? The struggles of our parents? Like, where did it begin? And I'm not sure if everybody heard me at the beginning, but some people say gossip, betrayal. I think Bankstar, betrayal, jealousy. Where does that start from? Insecurities. Where does the insecurity start from? Hmm. Self reflection. And this is not about beating up anybody, beating you up, beating your parents up. It's about healing. But like Akshita said, until we get to the bottom of it or getting to deeper into it, we won't be able to heal. We can do the work, but if other women aren't willing to participate in this, back to square one. But it's not that just chaos waiting to happen. It's all over. Yeah. Or again, unresolved trauma. Absolutely. See, there's nothing that's going to be perfect, and it's not going to. We're not going to live in a harmonious world where everyone and every woman is going to get along. I mean, yeah, we would like to think that, but that's not going to happen. Let's keep it real. But it just starts with one. And the one that it starts with is you. the dot, it starts with you. You can work on you. If I'm working on me, Denise is working on her, Akshina's working on her, and Bankstar is working on her, then we are working on we're working on it, the whole. Only person that we can account for is ourselves, and this is why we have to take accountability. If I'm taking accountability for the things I've done in my past, my reactions, my whatevers, then we all have to do the same thing. It starts with the one. We're only responsible for ourselves. We can't be responsible for others. But as long as it's the women or the people begin to acknowledge what the issue is, and this is why we're having this conversation. No time to focus on anything else outside of personal growth and development. Yes, absolutely. It starts in the home. That first home is here. It starts here. And guess what happens? Once it starts here and it starts overflowing out of here, it's going to start overflowing in your home, in your external home. You get it? Where your children are going to see the difference and start seeing it. And then when they go out into the world, especially the women, they're going to react the same. It starts here in your house, in your own little universe, in your temple. It starts there, here, and then it's here, outside of here. And we begin to raise women that can build bonds and trust with other women. Thank you. So what are we going to do today? Like after we get off this live and we speak about this, what are we going to do? Are we going to just be like, okay, yeah, this was cool, and but what are we going to do ourselves? Acknowledge. Oh wow, wow. Thank you, Ashi.
Again, to trust women to be my friends, to trust women to
my dad.
Part of my healing process is putting myself in a position to be able to trust. Part of my healing process is putting myself in a position to be able to trust women again, to trust women to be my friends, to trust women to look out for me as a woman before they put the needs of a man before us. I think we as part of my healing process is putting myself in a position to be able to trust women again, to trust women to be my friends, to trust women to look out for me as a woman before they put the needs of a man before us. I think we as women don't have enough conversations about
Man for us. She said putting a man before. Oh. So what do you think she's relating that? I don't know. She could be relating to a friend, her mom. I'm not sure.
how the tumultuous relationships that we have with each other, like with our moms, our sisters, our aunties. And I never really had any real feminine guidance when I was younger. I don't have the best relationship with my family, and the reason why is because I just never felt like comfortable around them. I never felt connected to them. And part of the reason why is because a lot of them just had nasty attitudes. A lot of my female relatives kind of came off as if they didn't really like me that much anyway. I don't think they taught me a lot about what it meant to be a woman. And at the end of the day, they probably were doing the best that they can with what they knew. And part of my healing process is putting myself in a
We disguise our ruthless nature through an outward show of innocence, kindness, playfulness, and fun. And then once we get what we want, the facade drops and our true women ways come out. As women, we are all wolves in sheep's clothing. We disguise our ruthless nature through an outward show of innocence, kindness, playfulness, and fun. And then once we get what we want, the facade drops and our true women ways come out.
Wow. Wow. Two different women, two different views. You have that one, the first young lady, same desire, wanting to build relationship with women, wanted them to. You can hear the pain in her speaking, how she at one point may have felt betrayed, and desire to have a genuine relationship with a woman as a friend. And then you have the other woman who, her idea of her, and you think about, this is a woman speaking on women, and who she's really speaking on is herself. That's how she feels about herself. She is that wolf. hmm So I thank you all for joining me tonight. I do apologize for any of the issues may have had. I'll get better with this. Um, I just want to say you all that I love you all, and us working together honestly, um, as a tribe. Thank you, Kimberly. Yeah, she was the wolf. Us working together, I believe, I know, I like to use that word, I know that we can build and create a better world together for our children, for our young women. We once lived in a world that we worked together, raising our children, telling us stories, prepping the food and preparing the food for our families. We can get back there again, but we got to first start working with ourselves. It is the self, it is the dot that we have to. And if I work on me and we each of us work on each other, we're unstoppable. We'll create a better world. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go. I thank you all again for joining me tonight. It's every Tuesday night talk, Tuesday night tea with tea. And we're just going to talk on topics that, my life and other women like me. I want to tell you all again that I love you. And cool. Thank you, Denise. Cool. Thank you, Denise. My sisters. Love you too, guys. Love you all. Again, thank you guys for joining me.